Okay, welcome to Back to Basics, hosting a successful open house. If you're watching online, just go ahead and email me at wendy.schaller@realty1group.com and I'll go ahead and get you this printout. But we're going to talk today about doing an open house pretty much start to finish. You know, how do I find it? How do I call the other agent if it's not your listing? Everything that you need to use to set up everything, what you need to bring with you, how you pick them, where you set up the signs, like pretty much everything. But on the sheet, we're going to kind of fly through this sheet and then I can kind of show you physically what's going on. But the objective is to learn how to legally and effectively host an open house, maximize exposure, generate leads, and represent yourself and your brokerage professionally. Now, when we say legally, we're talking about the signs, right? What you can and can't do. When you're with Realty One Group, no matter which office you're out of, you can only do open houses on Realty One Group listings. And the reason being is last year, a year and a half ago when we had the lawsuit, that it's now mandatory that everybody fill out a buyer-broker agreement. If you are doing it on another brokerage open house, not for another brokerage listing, every person that walks in the door, you need to make them fill out a BBRA, which looks really bad, but it's required. But when you're doing it on a Realty One Group listing, they don't have to fill it out because the brokerage owns all of the listings, right? So they can come in and you don't have to sign them up, and then you're more apt to get a favorable response to doing your open house, right? So, understanding the open house policy. You can only host with the Realty One listings. Does anybody know how many active Realty One Group listings we have right now? No, it's a lot. I know, I don't even know. I'll be quite honest. But there's that's probably for all of everything, just not Realty One. But Realty One, we probably have close to 1,000, if not over. And then if you log into the MLS, which if you don't have access to it, you won't know until you get in there, but you log into the MLS, and on the front dashboard, it will say your firm's listings, but it also has your office listings. So the firm is all 4 offices. Your office listing is just the Summerlin. How many listings in Summerlin? But a lot of those are vacant. I prefer, and I prefer for myself and everybody else to do open houses on vacant listings, especially if you're starting, but sometimes you have a listing that your seller's living in and they want an open house and you're like, okay, well, I just have to do it. The reason why I prefer it being vacant is because you're responsible for everything that's in that home. And the seller steps out and they're just handing you their home with everything in it. So you have to think about hiding any checks, any pill bottles, any money, any firearms, like all of that stuff, because you can't watch what everybody's doing. If it's one person, you can kind of follow with them or guide them. But so I really like to say, hey, feel free to walk around, just let me know. But if somebody's stuff, belongings are in there, you have to give them a tour and you have to watch, and sometimes they separate. Years ago, we had a large family that would come in, and it was just a ring of people, and they have 2 men usually, and 2 or 3 women, some little kids, and a little baby. And the wife would distract the agent, look at my baby. The husband has a blanket and he's going in and stealing things underneath that blanket. You are responsible for everything that's in that house, right? So it's very, very important that you watch everything. So while you're training on the Mentee program, try to just focus on the vacant ones. They're easier for you guys to learn from. But, okay, choosing the right home. What's the best day? What's the best time? How long should it be? Should you bring somebody with you? Do you share it with another agent? There's a lot of questions. So the best day, any day, guys. The best time, anytime, right? Whenever you have time, whenever you can fit it in there, because there's traffic all day. If you're Monday through Friday, you might want to start like right before the school that, you know, if there's a junior high or high school that's around you, you might want to start before then, so when the parents are taking their kids to school, they see your signs and they're like, I'm going to drop the kids off, I'm going to head over there. You might want to do it in the afternoon. Same thing. They might be heading to school early and they're like, oh, I'm going to stop in. Or after I get the kids, or whatever it may be. If you do it past 5 o'clock, a lot of people get off at 5 o'clock, so on their way home, they're like, oh, there's an open house, I want to see it. You don't know. Saturday, Sunday, those are great days too, but then Sunday, it's church, you know. So are you going to do it in the mornings before church? Or are you going to do it after like 11 o'clock when church breaks? You know, what are you going to do? So every day is good. Every time is good. It's just when you can fit in. My suggestion is if you're going to do 2 or 3 days in a row, or you're going to do Friday, Saturday, Sunday, pick one house. Prepare one time, because preparing for an open house takes 3, 4, 5 days. It's not, so you don't want to have one house on Friday, one house on Saturday, because you can't prepare for all of that. So what you can do is, reserve your signs if you don't have any, and then you're going to prepare all week long, and then at the end of Friday, leave them in the garage. Saturday, you come in, do the same thing. Sunday, same thing. And then that way you've already door knocked the neighborhood. You've already done everything, sent out flyers and your social media and maps or whatever it is that you're going to do, but you only had to prepare once. But think about if you had to do that for 3 different homes in 3 days in a row, right? So we want you guys to do the whole experience. We want you to social media post like, hey, I'm going to be holding an open house this weekend, and that's for your people. Come see me at my open house location. Then you're going to want to door knock the neighborhood. Some people like to do one street in front of it, one street after, behind it, and so you're kind of getting those immediate neighbors. But I'm like, if you have time, knock the whole neighborhood. And this is what I say: is if some people are like, I don't want to door knock, you can leave a little flyer. Like, you can get these in a lot of places, but Nora left these from the home warranty, and it's got a place for your card. You just kind of stick in here. And I had an old one, but I kind of lost it. But I think it was in my bag. I didn't see it in there. But what I do is I go to Office Depot and I get one of these fat white stickers, and then I put in there and I type it: open house Saturday 11 to 3, home neighbors from 10 to 11, and then open from 11 to 3 or something like that.
So they feel like they're VIP a little bit.
Yes. And why do you think I want the neighbors in there first?
They might know people.
Yeah.
And they might want to sell too.
Yeah. Also, because you get neighbors that get in there and they love to tell the secrets. Oh my God, do you know right behind this house, they use it as a speedway. People have busted through this back wall 3 different times. Yeah, but they not you, but I'm worried about me talking to somebody else and them come in and go, oh my God, you like this house? Oh, the neighbor this, the dog that, so they kind of let out too much. If I don't know about it, I'm not disclosing it, but now you're defending the property, right? But I like the neighbors to get in there first so I can get to know them. And then I'm like, special preview for neighbors only. And then I'll give them special, the little buntlets or whatever from anything, bunt cake. And then when the public gets in there, we have got chocolate chip cookies. Right. So then the neighbors feel like, oh, but guess what? The neighbors, when you do an open house, you're not trying to specifically sell that one house. It'd be great if you did. Right. But in 20 years, I've only sold one home off of an open house. And I wasn't doing the open house. I took my clients out for the day. We broke, and on their way home, they found an open house. They walked in and gave my card to that agent, and then they called me and they said, we love this house. We already talked to the agent. We said that you were our agent, and I worked with her. She was nice. She didn't have to give that to me, even though I have a buyer-broker agreement signed because I've been signing those for years. But she didn't have to, but I would have had to sue my clients if she didn't, and it's an awkward mess. But she didn't want to represent both sides. And that's not something I do either, but you can. And so I was able to represent them. So I had nothing to do with it. I just happened to drive by. So with it was beneficial for her to hold that open house that day. It worked out well for all of us. But in the meantime, I like the neighbors, because they're going to come in and see how you set up. Do you have music? What's the atmosphere? What's the smell? What's all of this? What are they passing out? How much social media are you doing? Because if they're thinking of selling, they're like, that's the agent. Oh my gosh, do you know how much they do for their open houses? They're going to kill it with everything. They're going to get me a buyer. You're trying to win over the neighborhood, right? And anytime, if you have a farm and it's like your own neighborhood, every time there's a listing in there, go to that listing agent. Hey, I live here. I would love to sit on your open houses. Do you want me to do it? I'm right down there. I can walk there.
But they have to be
Realty One, right? So, but again, Realty One Group is the largest brokerage here in town. So a lot of the listings are ours. But if not, you can go talk to that agent, because that agent might be like me, where I refuse to do a multiple representation. Right. And if I know you live in the neighborhood, I know you're going to try to sell it for the highest amount. So I might be the listing agent, but you end up bringing a buyer, or I get somebody that walks in that's unrepresented. I know you live in the neighborhood. I'm going to call you. Want to come down here and meet this guy? And then you can represent and just give me a referral fee and then do your own thing. You want everybody in the neighborhood to know you're a realtor, and you want those listing agents to know you're a realtor as well. And then if you can, talk to them. If they lose the listing, then you could say, hey, I came in here, I talked to the other agent, I saw a few things that they weren't doing that I would do, and then try to win that listing if it expires. There's a whole bunch of reasons, but the whole purpose to doing an open house is to gain unrepresented buyers or to win over that neighborhood and get those other listings. So when you're doing an open house, you want to do your social media. You want to walk the neighborhood, door knock. If you door knock, you can leave these on the door handles. You can leave them on the garages. If they have little gates to the front door, you can leave them anywhere. I like when they have the Ring camera. Now, I don't necessarily need them to open the door. I like to do the ring. They don't answer. So I'm like, hi, I'm Wendy Schaller with Realty One Group, and I give them a little infomercial, right? I'm going to be doing an open house on the street right behind you. I have a special time from 10 to 11 for only sellers, and we got little special treats and everything for the neighborhood. I would love for you to stop by, come see me, and pick up a little things. I got some tchotchkes and things that you can get, some informational stuff. But in case you happen to see a lot of cars around, just know that's what's happening over there, all right? But you're more than welcome to come by. I'm going to leave this here so you have it. Don't forget. Love to see you. And I leave. So then that way they can't say I'm soliciting. I'm informing them that I will be hosting an event and there might be cars everywhere. One of our girls, actually Lauren, she called me one Saturday night, like 7 o'clock at night. She was doing door knocking in her own neighborhood because she was doing an open house the next day. And this lady called her own neighbor, and said, there's no soliciting in here, and she's yelling at her. So Lauren calls me up almost in tears. What do I do? And I said, don't worry about it. You were informing her that you have an event going on. There's nothing you can do. You weren't just, hey, want to sell your house. You weren't putting landscape stuff up there. You were informing her that it's happening and what time that was happening in case it caused her any kind of grief with the traffic. So you get that. You get people that will just be nasty because they want to be nasty. You just kind of diffuse it. Oh, I'm so sorry. You know what? Next time I'll just miss your house. I just won't leave you the information. Just apologize and move on. It's better to ask for forgiveness because if you ask for permission, they're just going to tell you no. So just do it. There's nothing wrong. Nothing states that we can't do this. If they say there's no soliciting, say, well, great. I'm just informing you of an event that's going on, and there might be limited parking. Okay, no worries. Thank you. Have a great day. And you move on, guys. Just don't linger there because they'll blast you and they'll just keep blasting you, right? So you'll do that, and then I like to do the morning of another social media post, and then or like a little video, do a walkthrough. Okay, guys, now we started, and you got your. If you guys have it, I have a bag of tricks here, but if you have like a selfie stick, a gimbal, and which I have. I spent a lot of money on mine and still don't know how to make it work. But if you are great with technology and all the resources, use it. But you're going to do a walking tour, and you're going to speed through that house. Guys, look at how beautiful this house is. I'm sitting open from 11 to 1 today. Come stop by and come see me. And then that's it. And then afterwards, hey guys, just wanted to let you know the open house was a success. I was so busy, didn't have a chance to answer all your questions. But if you do have any questions about it, let me know. I'd love to. If you want to come see it because you weren't able to come to my open house, just reach out to me and I'll set a time up for you. You're trying to get engagement there. People will start coming to your open houses because they see your social media. Oh my God, you have so much fun. Let them hear the music playing, see the balloons, whatever. Oh, I saw one on, I think it was TikTok the other day. So it was like this deflated balloon and you couldn't see what it was. And then she says, so-and-so let me fall on my face. And then he plugged it in. And it was a picture of the realtor holding a sign that said open house. I was like, where did she get that? I mean, it was huge. It was like 20 feet tall. But I was like, this is brilliant. And she's out there going like this. And it's her. It's not one of the little one, So I was like, oh my God, this is brilliant. So I'm going to look into where we can get those because that was super cute. But she had fallen, like it deflated on her face. And she's like, you let me fall on my face. So I was laughing. It was great. But you're going to do things like that. Say, guys, I'm not sleeping. And then you can do a video of it blowing up. Here I am, presenting the house today. Like whatever it is that you want. But you've got to be different. And that's how you set yourself apart by doing all this little stuff that's different. You want to drive your own social media, but share it and have them share it. And then maybe share it with other realtors and have them share it. Just trying to get them out there. It's a love-hate relationship with accepting other realtors on your social media because they're like, I don't want them to see what I'm doing. But to me, I'm just like, hey, I'll accept your request. If you share my post, I'll share your post because they know a whole other group of people that I don't necessarily know. Right. So I like it, but there's other agents that are like, no, I don't want any realtors on my page. And I get that, because you don't want your people going to the other realtor's page, but they're there to help you out, and you're there to help them out, and that's probably the best way to do it. So let's go back here. Should you bring somebody with you?
I brought my husband.
Good.
He was helpful because he put out the sign.
Uh-huh. Everybody's got a part, but it's always safety concerns. You know, if they're not licensed, they can't talk to anybody. They could just sit there and hang out. They can act like they're, you know, because sometimes it's the fear of losing out, the FOMO. Like, pretend like you're like, I have a question. And then somebody else is like, oh my, did they want it? Oh my, I have to make an offer first.
Right, yeah.
Just letting you know, use it to your advantage. But for safety as well, I always say you can have another realtor there. Nothing wrong with that. You can partner up with a realtor, a lender. Back in the day, home warranty would sit with us. The title marketing reps would sit with us. But it's just a different market now. And so they can't be everywhere. Because especially right now, everybody's doing open houses. So you can't expect the lender and the title marketing rep to be sitting there with you all day long, and there's 5 other ones. They just got to go from one to one to other. They might help with like setting up if it's a big event. They might bring some cookies or something for you. But chances are they're not going to sit there. Now, if you sit with another licensed agent, how does that work with commission? Because you're both sitting there.
You gotta talk it out before.
Yes.
Be clear.
Absolutely. Don't ever do anything with another realtor unless your commissions are decided upon before, because we as a brokerage are not going to help you guys hash that out. You guys are going to end up suing each other, right? We don't want that. So just be very clear. So this is the way I suggest doing it. I've always done it, but Tim does it a totally different way as well. I always say, okay, Brittany, next weekend I'm going to do an open house. Do you want to sit with me? Sure. Okay. I'm going to pick it. We're both going to set up. We're both going to do everything. But if we get somebody that wants it, it's going to go in my name, but we will split it 50-50. And then next week you pick one, and we'll just do everything. And then if we get somebody that wants it, it'll go in your name, but then we'll split the commission 50-50. To me, you both are doing the work, and you probably wouldn't have sat there alone. So, but half is better than none, right? So you're doing that. Now Tim does it totally different. He sits there with another agent, or used to, and he's like, I get the first person that walks in, you get the second one. And I was like, but you both did the work, you know, but he's just like, it's just like a car dealership. And that's fine if that's how you want to do it. We're not going to tell you how to do it, you know, so you guys figure that out between you guys. You could just say, hey, will you sit with me, and then I'll give you a 25% referral fee. You could do that too. Like, it's completely up to you what you want. And it's just a few hours of them sitting there. They're like, I'm not going to set anything up, but I'll sit with you. Okay, great. So, but if you are going to do it alone, please, I forgot my whole safety bag, but be safe. I have mace. I have like 3 different mace. I have brass knuckles. I have a zapper. I have everything. For women, they have a whole bunch of stuff. They have things, these metal poles that like you twist your hair up and stick it in there, but you pull it out and you could kill somebody with this long, skinny thing. So, I mean, there's a ton of stuff. I have a beeper that it looks like a car alarm, and you click it, and you have to put in there who you want as your emergency contact, but it lets them know to call 911 immediately. So I have a whole safety class, but I always say, when you're picking an open house, and we'll go into this a little bit more, because I think it's right next to the next one, good houses to sit on. But I always say you're going to pull up a whole bunch of houses, and then you're going to look at the pictures and the specifics on it, and say, okay, this one looks good. You're going to call that agent and say, do you mind if I do an open house, or are you open to me doing an open house on Saturday and Sunday? They say yes. Say, great, I'm going to tour the house this week, and then I'll double check and let you know if I still want to sit on it by tomorrow. Okay, great. And then, because sometimes you get in there and you have, it smells like cat urine, there's broken windows, it was dirty, anything can happen, right? So you want to make sure, because you're going to be the one there. The general public thinks the person sitting in it, it's their listing. And they're going to be, why would you even show it like that? Like, so now you're defending the property. It's not my listing. Then why are you here? And then you have to explain how the whole process works. You don't want to go there, right? So if it looks good, then you call the agent and say, yep, looks great. I'm going to go ahead and you're tracking it, like when you're driving up. Where do I want to put my signs? Is it good? Because when you don't have your own signs, here at the office, we will let you reserve 4 signs. If you need more than that, if it's Saturday and Sunday, you have to come Friday at like 3:30, 4 o'clock. Do you have any extra signs? And if we have extra, we'll give them to you. But if not, we only have about 40 signs for the whole office. So that's why I always suggest get your own signs and then use ours as backup. But when you're starting out, we get it, right? I just was able to order 25 more signs for us, so they're brand new. But we have a lot of seasoned agents that have their own signs, and then they're like, I need more. What's the ideal number of signs that you need for an open house? As many as possible, guys. But I like to do 8 to 10. When I first started out, I got 10. And then 10 that are like this. Okay, there's difference in open house signs. These are the heavy signs, right? They're very heavy, but they don't blow over. Then the other ones, I've got the round like all the way, and it's just one sign that swings back and forth. They're very light, and you can fling them in and out your car, but you have to weight them down with bricks or sandbags. Yeah. So now you're doing double the work, but these are they're just very heavy. So you have to figure out which works best for you. When we reserve signs, like if you reserve signs, we might give you 2 heavy ones and 2 light ones. It's whatever's back there. So be prepared. Have sandbags. You can go to Home Depot or Lowe's, and they have little bags that you can get sandbags. And then just weight down the corners. Or there's usually like a middle, this one, this like this. This is to hold it in there, but you can put something down the center to hold it in there. All the different ways to do it. But with that, you're going to... When you're buying your own signs, it's more important. But as you can see, they get banged up a lot. Especially because when you're putting out signs, it's my least favorite thing to do. Because you're stopping in the middle of the street, getting out, running around, opening the bag, taking it to the median, putting it out and then don't forget a balloon or a pinwheel or something. I like to put something on the top of mine. Because if they're driving around, it might blend in. But you might have 10 other signs. Maybe there's another Realty One agent doing it in this development and you're over here. But if yours has a gold balloon on every single one, or a Mylar balloon, or a little pinwheel you can get at the dollar store, you could just tape it right in here. Whatever you got to do. And they're like, that's a pinwheel. That's a pinwheel. You're trying to get them to you, right? So however you can do it. Till you buy your own signs, you might put something different on there. I ended up with my own signs look like that. And then I had these made with just red arrows. And then I had my husband wire them up here, which was very hard because I couldn't use the handle anymore. It was a whole big thing. It's like you just try whatever. But when they saw a white sign with a red arrow, they're like, okay, there's that one. They're like, it's used to set it apart because they're not looking at this arrow. Half the time, they're just not doing it. So you're like, how do I set this up? How do they know where to go? And they're just driving aimlessly. There's another one. So you want them to try to just follow you, right? But anyways.
Is there places that you could not put signs?
Yes. If you go in Southern Highlands, you have to, even a listing sign, you have to buy their listing sign. I think it's like $100. And they're little green signs that sit out front of the house. But if you're doing an open house, they allow one in your driveway and then everything outside the subdivision. Right? But outside the subdivision, they have hours and this and that. So you have to call the city. If they're master plan communities, Summerlin, the Ridges. Ridges, we had a listing up in the Ridges. And we put them all outside. And once they got to the gate, we had one at the gate. And we put our phone number there. And then once they got to the gate, they'd call. And then we'd give them directions to where the house is. But what I figured by the 3rd open house, I'm like, I'm going to bring the guards some chocolate and some flyers and said, hey, do you mind when they come through that you just hand them this flyer and it tells them exactly where the house is and it's flyer of the house? You got to get savvy. You just do whatever you got to do, right, to get them in there. But back to security also, when you're touring the house, because you want to tour the house before you agree to do that open house, so you don't walk in there the day of and oh my God, the house is a mess. And now you're cleaning somebody's house or you're just sitting in filth and there's dead bugs everywhere. It's a whole big thing. So, but you also want to look at security. How secure is the neighborhood? How secure are the neighbors? If I have to run, how do I get out? And I walk the whole premises. I go out in the backyard and I go to the right of the house and see if it's a gate with a latch, or I go to the left of the house. And then I make sure that there's no lock on that gate. Because if you're sitting at this house by yourself and you have to run, guys, you need to know your exits. And if there's locks on the gates, just ask them, for security purposes, is there any way that I can get this unlocked? Also, if it's a vacant house and you're sitting there by yourself, you might want to set up in the garage. You don't even have to set up in the house. Just have them, a garage door open, you're set up out there, they come and meet you, and then they go in and tour the house themselves, and when they come out, that's when you have a conversation with them. You can open the door and say, do you guys have any questions, whatever, I'll be right out here, I can't leave it unattended, whatever it is. Feel free, I'm gonna let you have free reign and do whatever you want, you know. That's the best way to do it, if you're gonna do that. But again, sometimes it's too cold, sometimes it's too hot, like, you gotta do whatever, but your safety's first, guys, always. I have cut a open house short one time, just because I wanted, like, sorry to do this, but hold on. Open houses. Are you sitting on open houses? Oh.
I just want to hear a little bit.
Oh, okay. We're talking about we're talking about safety right now. So I'm always concerned about, you know, like what are my surroundings? What do I have if I need to be? What are my exits if I have to? Talk to the neighbors if I'm there by myself. I go to the neighbor. Hi, just letting you know I'm going to be doing an open house, you know, from 11 to 1. If you want, feel free to stop by. But I am over here by myself. So if you hear anything, just let me know. You know, I let them be aware of my surroundings. Other than that, well, that's a whole nother safety class. So going on to page 2, which would be how to pick the open house. Okay, I always say vacant or staged homes. Before you have to choose a, you know, owner-occupied home or tenant. I wouldn't do it if it's a tenant, guys. There's just too much. But if it's an owner-occupied, I feel free to, you know, do it. But while you're on the mentee program, let's just have you try to do the vacant ones. But talk to us before you pick any of your homes. If it's a staged home, that's great, which means nobody's living there, but they put, you know, staging so it looks great for the people that are coming in. Easy access to show, which if you can, try to get the beginning or the middle of the neighborhood if you're picking them, right? Because if you have to go left and right and all back there, and you only have 6 signs, all your signs are going to be in the subdivision and out on the main road, which would draw all the traffic in, right? So we're going to be strategic about that. Newer listings, if a listing just hits a market, if it's 3 weeks and under, try to get in there because less likely that all the traffic has been in there. The longer it sits, it's fine to do it. It's just, it sits a little bit longer, so then they come in and they start asking, well, what's wrong with it? Why hasn't it sold? Da, 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 da. And now you're, again, defending the property. But sometimes, like, that's all that we can do. That's all that's available in the area that you're able to do that. But the newer the listing, the better to get in there. Make sure it's priced appropriately also. Because some of these properties are $150,000 over, and then they're coming in there, they're like, for this? Because they'll pick up your flyer. They're like, really? That's, oh my God. Like, and again, you're defending the property. So it's all, I don't want to say it's a waste of time because you can meet people, but then you have to go, well, it's not my listing. I'm just sitting here holding it open. The agent wasn't able to come in. So now you're explaining what's going on again, and you know, that's not the ideal situation. And then good location with nearby traffic or other open houses. If there's other open houses scheduled for that weekend, that's great because it's going to start pulling everybody in that direction. So I always say, you know, because sometimes, because you can put in there as a listing agent, I can mark in there every open house that I plan on having. It's the little icon with the open door. So then that way you can say, oh, there's going to be an open house there this weekend too. Okay, I better do it that way. That way it draws a lot of more traffic and you don't have to worry about so many signs because they're already heading in your direction. Houses to avoid, tenant-occupied homes. Hard for them to keep clean. You can't really touch your stuff. You're responsible for everything that's going on in there. It's best not to. Homes with deferred maintenance or odors. We were just talking about that. Listings over 60-plus days, unless they've been recently refreshed. You know, where they've added new pictures, they've, you know, decluttered some, whatever it may be, right? Listings in gated communities, there's nothing wrong with them. It's just a little harder. Because now we have to get through there. We have to get them the gate code. You want to call the HOA, get a temporary gate code for that day. Because you don't want to give out their home gate code for anybody to access after you're, yeah. Yeah, I mean, you just don't know, you know, because you're like, this is the only gate code. Well, now they can come and go as they please, and that's kind of private. So what I suggest is on the sign that's right at the gate, maybe put your cell phone number, and then they can, you know, you ask the HOA to put you on there for the day or the 2 days that you're doing it, and then give you a code to buzz them in. And then you just usually hit like 9 and it'll open the gates, and then they don't need code, right? Or they can give them a temporary code for those days that you're doing the open house. And And then the ones that are deep in the neighborhood, that they're hard to get all your signs to. But how to find another Realty One Group listing, we talked about. You're on the front page. You can go on there and like my office listings, and you can click on there and try to find all the vacant ones. You're going to join all 4 Realty One Facebook groups, because it doesn't have to be just the houses in this office. You can do ones in Green Valley or Southwest or Northwest, so you can look at all of them. The Northwest agents will post on our Summerlin book as well. It's like, hey, I've got a new listing. Call them. Just say, hey, are you looking for somebody to do open houses? Because I tell the agents, post it if you have a listing and you need people to do open houses, and post it if you're looking to do open houses. Hey guys, I'm available this weekend to do some open houses. Then you can find them that way. Attend weekly meetings. Every Thursday we talk about who has new listings. And then use MLS filters to search for Realty One Group. So in the MLS, you can search just for Realty One Group listings and then go through them that way. And then you can pull up the map and say, okay, this is the area I want to focus on, and then just pull up all those listings there. Okay, so it goes on to what to say when you're when you're asking to sit at an open house. Okay, I thought that said something different. So say you find one that you wanted. You're going to call the agent. Hi, this is Wendy with Realty One Group. I saw your new listing at 123 Main Street, and I would love to hold an open house this Sunday from 1 to 4. Is that available for me to do? Are you open to me doing it? However you guys want to say it. If they say yes, I usually follow up with an email. Like I said, you're going to want to tour the house first. So you're going to say to them, great, I'm going to stop by tomorrow morning or later this afternoon, and I'll just confirm with you tomorrow. That way you've set eyes on it. You've walked in there. You've seen the neighborhood, everything, and then you just confirm, and then you send them an email. I always suggest sending them an email. Per our conversation this morning, I will be hosting you've given me authorization to host an open house. That way it's in writing that they said, yes, you can go ahead and do it. And then that way they can go, can you please change the status in the MLS? So then now when they do that, it goes on all the social media platforms like Zillow. It says open house. So then they're helping on their end to promote that you're going to be doing an open house.
Because they're the only ones that have the
Access to do that, the listing agent. If it has changed, or the seller has not maintained the property, ask the listing agent if they'll be cleaning or doing any yard maintenance before. Where, like, sometimes the wind comes in and there's just, show up and there's just leaves all by the front door. Hey guys, I just want to let you know before I do that, are you guys going to be cleaning that up? If they say no, it's up to you if you want to continue on. But my bag of tricks here, guys. You're going to create an open house bag. I carry a dustpan, a toilet brush, a broom. I've got cleaner. Oh, here's my toilet brush. I kid you not. Like, I clean it all. I've got paper towels. I've got the cleaning bottles I didn't bring in here. There's a bunch of stuff that you need because I've shown up for an open house and there was a bird that sat right above, like in this little atrium, and bird poop all the way down the window right when you walk in the door. And I'm like, oh my gosh. Now, I do have a little ladder. I bring like a little step stool, but anything higher than that, I'm not going. I'm not doing it.
What about like how do you feel about smells? Like, I know there's people that they don't like the smell of like a plug-in or something, right? And I heard somebody said like you should have a smell of like citrus because it makes people make decisions faster.
Oh.
I don't know, psychology.
Yeah.
Legend. So like, is there something that you should stay away from? I mean, I know cat.
If you're masking something, yes.
Yeah.
I'd rather just have a clean scent rather than cookies or citrus. Some cleaning products are citrusy, but then that way they walk in and it feels clean. And they're like, right when they hit the front door, I'll clean the windows right when they're walking in, or the door, like whatever. I'll wipe up the floor just so it gives a little bit of a smell right then and there. But I do take a cleaner, like these little wipes. And I do wipe all the counters because they might walk by and then they like, bathrooms counters, kitchen counters. I do all of that kind of stuff, but I don't go crazy. If they haven't cleaned their home, then maybe this isn't the home for me. You guys are trying to sell it. This is why it's sitting on the market 90 days because you might need a little attention. If you go back and say, you know what, I'm going to pass on that open house. It does need some maintenance. It needs some cleaning. Maybe that triggers the listing agent to either do it, pay for it, or tell the seller they got to do it. Like, guys, they're not even going to do open houses for us. Like, we've got to get this done. It's not your job to go in there and be their cleaning crew, but you do want to because you're representing yourself. Like I said, you're trying to not necessarily sell that house, but sell your surfaces, and if it's dirty, and every time they go in there, like, I saw her last time, it was dirty too. Like, it's already done. Like, they're always going to perceive you as that agent that is not clean. And it's not even your open house. It's not, not even your house. It's just you're holding it open. So let's see. In the end, what to say. Okay, so then, if it's changed, if you think this may not be a good choice or location appearance, you can just tell the listing agent you want to cancel. Nothing is worse than spending 4 hours defending a listing that's not even yours, right? So you want to just make sure it's set up. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's an agent that's trying to do an open house on a condo that's $185,000. It's vacant, it's fine, but that's a fast sell, right? But the problem is it's got to be cash, so now they're limited, so it's sitting a little bit longer. So she's trying to do an open house, but now everybody that walks in, you got to make sure just, okay, you feel free, look at it, whatever, but it is cash only, for whatever it is, but it doesn't mean it has to be dilapidated. It's just an older condo that, it's just what the prices are doing in that, that subdivision. So, bonus tip, offer to send a summary after the open and follow up with any rules they have. Okay, so when you do an open house, everybody that comes through and signs your login sheet or goes onto Spacio, however you do it, those are your leads. So if a listing agent tells you to give me all the information, say I'm not going to be doing that, but thank you anyways. Because those are yours. That's how you sat there. You got the time. So when everybody comes in, it's one, to vet them, but two, to have a follow-up so you put in your CRM. But if you're giving that to the listing agent, guess what? They're the ones that winning. You put all the work in there, and they're going to call them to try to get a buyer. And now they're unrepresented because you're not connected to them. So you follow up with them, and that's it. They don't need to know. It was different when we had COVID. We had to kind of tell them everything of what's going on and clean after each person, but that's not the case anymore, right? So you want to make sure you're doing all that. And then, okay, so you found the house, and now what? Okay, contact Rock Title, and they're going to get you an open house packet. It looks like this. She's going to get you a bag. There's pens and pads of paper, and there's a whole bunch of stuff in there, but then you're going to get this folder. And inside this folder, you're going to have a buyer guide. But she also has seller guides, relocation guides. You don't want to give these to everybody. This is my thought. If you want, like anybody that might be serious, then you can go ahead and give them a buyer guide. I would definitely take your card, which I put over there, but staple it to the inside, not on the top, because if we put it on their counter and something gets ripped off, put it on the inside so when they open it, they see you. Put it a couple times, one on the front, one on the back, whatever it may be. But it's the buyer guide, the process. I love this one. It's in color. The home buying process and all the steps. So it forms the buyer of the steps. And you can have this stuff laid out. So what I like to do is when I'm setting up, I'll have my front table, I'll have a sign-in sheet, and then I will have a questionnaire feedback, and I will have a flyer of the property that I usually staple together. So when they come in, I'll say, you know what, the seller's requiring that everybody sign in, or we have a little app called Spacio, and you can put a little picture, and then once they sign in, it automatically gives you all of their information, right? But then I hand them this, and I'll say the second page is a feedback. I would just love some feedback on what you think of the listing. So then now it's got their name, whatever, and maybe even the time they came in, so you can kind of remember who's who. And then so gives them information. This is from List Reports. You don't have to have the listing to use List Reports. Heather from Rock Title can set you up on List Reports, right? So then you get flyers like this. You get information about what's around you, the schools. Like, there's so much stuff on List Reports that you can print out. And what I like to do, I put these in scattered throughout the house. Or I put, like, if I have my personal pens made, or hand sanitizers with my name, or chapstick, what I do is I get those little TV tables, right? They're little ones. And I will put them scattered throughout the house. But I will put a flyer and then a TV table with something else. And I'll say, feel free to roam around. There's little tchotchkes and things that you can pick up as you go. Be like 2 or 3 of them, whatever. But when you walk into like an upstairs bedroom, if the door's over here and the room is like this, I put the table in the furthest corner. I don't put it right when they walk in so they can go, okay, great. I make them go all the way through the room, and then when they pick it up, they're like, oh my gosh, look at the views out here. And they turn around, they're like, oh, there's a ceiling fan, like whatever it is, but I make them go through the whole process, right? And then they pick that up as they go. And then at the end, I'm like, okay, with the feedback, do you have your feedback form? Oh, do you mind filling that out? I do have to give it to the seller. It helps them when they determine pricing and stuff like that. It's real quick if you don't mind doing that. And then that way, that's something else I can give to the listing agent. I don't give it to him, but I said, hey, I have a fill out form that they do for feedback. One ranked at a 5, one ranked at a 10, one, just so you know. But they all said the pricing was too high. I just wanted to give you that feedback, So it's helpful. We as agents need to help each other. I think a lot of them is like, it's my information, you don't need to know. Well, I'd like to know. What do you think? So any information you can get because they weren't able to do it. I'll be honest, I'm not an open houser. I stopped those many years ago. So what I would do is I'd have a list of agents that I call. Hey, I've got a new listing. Do any of you want to do an open house? And then I let you guys do it. Because I don't do multiple representation. So me sitting at an open house potentially opens me up to have an unrepresented buyer. And now I got to find somebody. I'd rather you guys do it. Bring it in. I don't care. So my job was to sell the house. And that's what I'm trying to do. So with that, back to this packet that Rock Title gives you. They'll give you information on, this is for the buyer. You can have set around. It's completely up to you if you want to do that. But like the power company, gas company, water, sanitation, all of that. These are great to leave around in these little things. You can pick these up at Office Depot. They're like $9 a piece. I just bought some for Christmas, and I think I got a 10-pack for $30. So it's well worth it if you go online. And they're great to have. Some of them have like a little thing for your cards right here. And so you've got this. And again, they might come with their agent, right? And you're like, okay, feel free, go around. But when their agent's not looking, they might take your card. Right. They might like you. And, so they can cancel that BVRA at any time. But so you want to make sure that your information is accessible. Everything you print is going to have your name and your contact information. So when they pick up a flyer, here's number one rule when you're doing your open house. If there's a sign with a flyer box outside, take those flyers out, put it in a kitchen drawer, and then when you go to leave, put them back. Because if they pull up, they're like, okay, this is out of our price range. They don't even come in. Or now they've picked it up, it's got the listing agent's information. You only want them to have your information, but please put them back because that's rude because the seller, the listing agent put it all together. But anyways, so you have that. Then we have a zip code map, which is super great and helpful for the buyers. Then there's opening escrow checklist. There is different ways to take title. The life of an escrow, how that all works. So they've got who pays for what? The buyer, the seller, if it's VA, so super important stuff.